In my mind, I'm thinking like, what the did I just do? I really was not expecting for him to be this forward.
I'm not open to sharing. No,
That's sexy. Then you're a little territorial too.
Yeah, and I respect the fact that you're not mine yet.
So, do you prefer your chemistry with Tiffany or with me? Carlo is playing with fire. This is going to be bad.
Okay, so you're gonna go talk to Tiffany and then come back and
I text Carlo to come over. I'm sure he'll have a big smile on his face because he's been waiting for this.
Is he actually gonna say to her that one, we and two, we're now exclusive?
One thing about me, I love when people tell on themselves on these reality shows. You can only pretend to be someone that you're not for so long until the masks fall, honey. This episode took a turn that I could not imagine, but I am all for the drama. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90-Day Hunt for Love. We're gonna jump straight into it. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So the first thing that we see, right, I think it's very intentional that they start with Tiffany. We see her on her date with Jay. They're friends, you know, Tiffany is like the hub spot for all of the singles. She's like, you know what, I've been giving all my time to Carlos. I wanna stay open. I wanna find love. But I don't feel any chemistry. I don't feel her giving him the eyes the way that she gives it to Rocky and Carlo. By the way, I've been calling that man Carlos, and y'all called me out. I get it. His name is Carlo. Sorry to that man. Maybe not after this episode. Jay gives me the vibe that he's a smooth operator, but he also gives me the vibe that he really wants to turn it up for the camera. I think that he really knows how to present himself on camera, if you know what I mean. So like he's pulling up like Mr. Suave. He has this romantic beach date planned and it's beautiful, right? There's picnics, there's drinks, there's the view. And I think that it would be great for someone that actually liked him. And I say that, right, because they're kind of like stumbling through questions. Tiff mentions early on that she has kids and she's looking for someone, you know, that's going to be about it. He's like, oh, I work with kids. So like, I get it. And then he's like, are you adventurous? She's like, no. And then he's like, well, why don't we do something adventurous? Why don't we kiss? And she's like, I'm a lady. And here's the thing about Tiffany. Carlo is in and out of her room at all times of the night. I don't believe that they haven't kissed and done a little more when the cameras are off. So I'm sure she wants to present herself as the anti-Jennifer on camera. But she's like, you know, I'm a lady. We could do a peck. And he's like, a peck? Sure. He goes in and you could see that he's doing more than a peck. He's trying to make it into more. And she's like, And then when she pulls away, he starts kissing her cheek and her neck. And she's like, behave. And everything about that made me so uncomfortable because it's like she said, he was doing things just to say that he did it, just to say that he like had something over Carlo. But he wasn't reading her body language. She clearly wasn't inviting it. It was really, really odd.
I'm a good girl. You yourself. What the did I just do? I really was not expecting for him to be this forward. Like, it's just so awkward.
And it only made her want to leave that day being like, I want Carlo. Jay proves that this is only a competition because he's like, oh, so am I in first place? And she's like, full transparency, I'm still getting to know Carlo. And that was the nicest way of her being like, no, you're not. The next thing that we see is a Colty update. Apparently, Courtney has been going over there every day. And they're on FaceTime and they're being super cute. And I'm like, it's Colt. But he's like, I'm all about her. She's like, oh my God, I would much rather be in the hospital with you. It would be a lot more fun than this resort. And I'm like, Courtney, I know you're down bad because there is no way that a hotel in Tulum is second to Colty in the hospital. There's just no way, right? But he's like, oh, I'm going to get my stitches off in 2 weeks. They're going to give me crutches. They're going to give me a wheelchair. So I'm like, are they going to bring him back to the resort? Is that the plan? It sounds like they're getting really close, and I foresee them getting hot and heavy if he's back, okay? So anyway, y'all, the next thing is a group event, and, they're getting ready to play bingo, I think. But before they do that, they're all meeting up, and Tiffany clocks that Rocky and Chantel have a moment, and she's like, oh, that made me feel jealous. And I totally get feeling jealous because you had a crush on someone, but there is no way that you could get me to admit that on camera when that man literally has not asked you out on a date. She's like, oh, but it's fine that Chantel stole him because I'm all about Carlo. I want to put all my eggs in that basket. Have that conversation with Rocky, who never asked you out. We see Carlo, he's with Cole. Carlo looks a bit distracted. Cole is saying that he's moving on from Jennifer, yet he keeps looking back at what she and Rob are doing. Pathetic. Then more people join them. Someone asks Carlo where he stands with Tiffany, and he's like, oh, well, she did go out with Jay, so, there's that. Then he's like, and that got me thinking, me and Elise are really cool. We should go on a friend date. And she's like, if you're asking me out, I'm down, but not as a friend. Like, I'm looking for the real thing. And she kind of like jokes that he should beg. And he does. He gets on a knee and he's like, will you go out with me? And those two have been besties the entire resort. Elise, in between the sheets, has mentioned that like he's always in her room talking at night. I'm guessing when he's not at Tiffany's room, he's with Elise. So I've always felt like there was energy between them. And in that moment, the way that she was like, I'll go on a date with you, but not a friend date, I'm like, oh, she's ready to put it down. The next thing we see is a group event, okay? And this is like sexy bingo. But the way that they're all drunk, they're all in heat, you can already tell what kind of game this is going to be. The way that it is that if it falls on a certain number, they have to pick a dare out of this jar. And they're all sexual. Like the first one is Jennifer. She has to lick an earlobe. And you could see Rob holding his breath like, please don't do Cole. Like, don't do this to me again. Like, if you pick Cole again over me, like, I don't know if I'm gonna recover. Like, that's his energy. And she's like, oh, who should I choose? Oh my God. Because this girl is horny for everybody. Not judging her, okay? She picks up this other Latina and it's fine. Rob is relieved. The next person, Carlo's turn. Carlo. And his dare is to take off his shirt. And he takes it off and throws it. And it looks like it landed on Tiffany. And Tiffany's like, oh my God, like he's been looking at me the whole time. And I just want to call out that in between the sheets, he aimed it at Elise. But Elise and Tiffany were sat right next to each other. So while Tiffany on between the sheets is like, yeah, he was making it all about me. He was just looking at me the whole night.
Carlo was for sure focusing his attention completely on me. He was like stripping for me, like he was doing it and looking at me.
Elise is like, he was talking in my ear the whole night about all the things that he wanted to do to me and that he doesn't care for Tiffany.
He meant to throw it to me, but it got thrown to Tiffany because we were sitting next to each other.
Mixed signals.
Mixed signals, and little did she know, that whole night he was whispering in my ear a lot of crazy stuff that he didn't want anything to do with Tiffany. Tiffany is a loser. I can't wait to be with you. I want to be with you.
It's complicated.
It's messy.
I literally, the secondhand embarrassment to be anyone in that trio, because like none of it feels right. Like Elise, he's telling you that you are number one, but he's clearly spending all of his nights with Tiffany and telling her another thing in her ear. So it's like, he's a liar. But anyway, we're gonna get to that in a second. The reason I'm like, this is a mess, right? He throws the shirt. He's aiming for Elise, but it lands on Tiffany. Tiffany is feeling her oats. He goes over to their section to sit back down. And I think someone is like, oh, the assignment was to take off a piece of clothing. We thought you were going to take off your pants. And he's like, no. And Tiffany's like, you could take them off. And he took that as an invitation. Mind you, everyone has been drinking. So it's like horny, overstepping, just all the things. He hears that from her and he leans in and kisses her. And she kind of like gives in, but it's like, And Chantel is watching this, and Chantel was there when he asked Elise out on a date. So she's like, this guy is playing with fire. Up next is Rocky. Rocky has to pick out a dare. His dare is to like massage someone. Chantel doesn't even let him pick her. They didn't even ask for volunteers. She shot up and was like arching her back, and everyone was like thirsty, but she's vibing with him. He didn't look upset. So literally this entire evening is fueled by alcohol. There was a moment that May was like humping Joe. It was a lot. And Tim was like, I'm a little scared of her. Then there was a moment where I think Rocky got picked again and he had to twerk. And Usman, I guess Usman just wanted to insert himself one way or another. He gets up to beatbox, but then it's like, while Rocky is twerking. I was like, okay. But anyway, y'all, now we get to the portion of the double dates. So it's Chantel and Rocky and Rob and Jennifer. They're riding to the same location. Then we see them on jet skis. They're having a blast. I'm going to start with Rocky and Chantel first. Rocky from the jump, when he was like, ooh, I'm so excited. I love jet skiing. And also with Chantel's figure protecting me from the back. I was like, oh. Rocky's only here to try to get into her pants. He does not care to get to know her as a person. And he does a good job at pretending that he does in all of the settings that we have seen him, which is what I thought was part of his charm with all the ladies, that he looks like he wants something deeper, but really, he's not really into that. At least not with Chantel. Because after they're done with the jet skis, they go to this bar and the conversation is painful. I think it's painful, yes, because Chantel is painfully awkward in these scenarios. But there's something that I've realized in my dating life. Men, and I'm sorry, I'm not saying all men, the men that have pursued me do not ask questions. I come from an era, I'm a New York girl, back when we had like the chirp phones, the sidekicks, I'm aging myself, but from an era where a guy could step up to you in the street at a party without wanting to harm you if you reject them, but they ask you questions, they want to get to know you, they immediately, don't waste time and ask you out on a date. Now, and I don't know if this is post-COVID, that people have like just let go of all their people skills. They ask you out. They take forever to take you out on a date. When you're on the date, you feel like you have to carry the flow of the date because they don't ask any questions, which makes me reflect and be like, how many of us are in relationships that would sink if we weren't actively keeping it going? I challenge y'all on your next date to keep the questions at a minimum to see if the other person can carry their weight. And you will be surprised to see just how quick a date can just be dead. I don't wish that for my brothers and sisters. I don't. But I just feel like that is the energy in the dating pool currently. The love of my life is gonna ask me questions and is not gonna be peeved when I ask them questions. However, y'all, I was a communications major, which is why I'm a yapper. There is something that can be said about the delivery. Chantel is fumbling through this conversation, right? So she's like, you know what? I prepared. I have a list of questions. I need to make sure that we're, keeping this going. However, I don't know when Chantel started doing this, but I have noticed that her speech pattern has been extra slow. Like, she's not sure what she's saying as she's saying it. And it's in every conversation that we have seen. I feel like I started to see that with her in the single life. And I don't know what that's about. I think that it makes people have less patience for her. And also, like, it's such a disappointment because she's such a hottie. But she lacks confidence. It sounds like she's processing as she's speaking. So she's asking him these questions. And they're coming off like an interview. Like a painful interview. And he isn't carrying his weight to try to like make this flow, to make her feel comfortable. He seems inconvenienced. So she's realizing that he's not, picking up what she's putting down. So she's like, ugh. And he's like, what's with the questions? And she's like, well, I've noticed that I stumble through dates and I find myself leaving without feeling like I'm having a deep connection. So I ask questions that I want to know about so that I feel like we are fostering a deep connection, which I think is smart. I think that a lot of us get caught up in vibes and the nice things that someone says, but we leave the date being like, I know nothing about this person. So I think she's onto something. I think that maybe the kinds of questions can be altered. Like, these are good questions for date 1. These are good questions for date 2, Maybe not ask about childhood traumas first date, even though I'm into that, but maybe not, And again, the delivery. I think that if you want to know something, ask it with confidence. Don't ask it like you're like, this is stupid. Because if you give the energy that it's stupid, he's going to take that and be like, this is stupid. What are we doing? So there's that. And so this date is going terribly. And somehow she is possessed to be like, so what about Tiffany? How's that connection? And he looks, thrown off by that. And also, Chantel, like, this is a date for you to get to know him. Why would you bring up another person into it? That's one. But then it gets worse when she's like, who do you have more chemistry with, me or Tiffany? Madam. He's like, oh, I'm enjoying this time right now. Delusion led her to ask that question. I could not. Anyway, then we see Rob and Jennifer on their date. And when we see them on the jet skis, she's like, oh yeah, go fast. I like that. Jennifer being Jennifer. They have a seat. We see them, look at the ocean. And Rob is laying it on thick, okay? He's like, oh yeah, the ocean, beautiful and dangerous. And he's basically looking at her like, yeah, you're beautiful and dangerous. And she's eating it up. She loves it. And she's like, I'm so happy that you asked me out. I was blushing. And he's like, yeah, it was about time that we got this moment one-on-one with each other without having people pull you away or like have some crap to say. And he's just like, I'm so happy that I don't have to watch you with someone else. And now that we spend more time, like, I'm not really into sharing you. I respect that you don't belong to me yet, but when you do, I'm not sharing. And she's like, that's sexy. And I think that there's a difference between the way that he's being territorial and the way that Cole is being territorial. Because he's like, I'm going to be territorial when you're mine, but you're not mine yet, and I'm willing to earn you. Cole is being prematurely territorial. That's the difference. But let's be honest, Jennifer does not belong to anyone. And I don't think she's going to belong to anyone at this resort. And I think it feels good to be wanted. It feels good to be desired. And I think that that's like a drug for Jennifer. It's also a drug for Rob. It just, manifests differently. But he's like, let's seal this with a kiss. And he gives her a kiss. And then she's like, oh, let me give you a second one, like, to make him feel extra good because he's feeling weak in the knees. They're by the ocean and it's just very romantic. They're making plans for him to go to Colombia to visit her. And he is leaving this being like, she's the one. Okay? Back at the resort, we see Tim go walk into May's room. Apparently he had a coaching session earlier that day. And the coach is like, you haven't asked anyone out. You have a week left of this experience. What are you doing? So he works up the nerve to go to May's room and he asks May out. May basically says, sure, why not? I mean, I haven't gone on a date with anyone else. That's the energy that she gave when she said yes. It was very much like, he's quirky and I like quirky guys, so sure, let's see how it goes. And it was just like the most two unenthused people agreeing to go on a date. This is where things get juicy and it's only gonna be messier from here on out. That's my prediction for the season, right? Because we see a scene with Carlo and Elise. Carlo pulls up where Elise is. He gives her a hug and she's like, oh, I'm surprised that you're hugging me because last night. And he's like smirking and she's like, yeah, you banged me good last night. And he's like, yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, Elise has weared our ears off with the term girl's girl. She has made me sick I've told y'all how much I hate that phrase because it's used to weaponize other women. But also, when it comes down to it, the girls that be like, I'm a girl's girl, I'm a girl's girl, are the most hypocritical bitches. At least the biggest girl's girl in the resort went and banged her bestie's man. You guys recall a few episodes ago when her and Tiffany ganged up on Jennifer, right? Y'all remember that? So for her to be like, yeah, like, well, you banged me good. But wow, like, I really don't want drama like the Jennifer Colt Rob thing. And I know you're dating Tiffany. Like, what about that? Because we have a deep connection. I did not expect this conversation to go the way that it went. Because Carlo is like, honestly, before last night, I would have told you that I would have picked Tiffany. But after last night and the moment that we shared and just, you know, our connection, I want to dedicate my time to just one person the rest of this retreat. And that's you. And here's the thing. The minute Tiffany told this man, I have kids, I knew that he wasn't serious about her. His reaction, he looked repulsed. Like, how dare you even be in this retreat if you have kids? That was his energy. So it perplexed me when he kept spending all this time with her. It perplexed me that he fought someone for asking her out on a date. Also perplexed me because in between the sheets, long ago, I think when the fight with Jay erupted, Elise on Between the Sheets was like, yeah, you know, Carlos spends a lot of time in my room and he always told me that he doesn't like Tiffany, that he's scared of her and that's why he hasn't broke things off. But that's why she was so confused when he picked the fight with Jay.
It's so weird because on the side, Carlo kept telling me he wants Tiffany to go with other men so he doesn't have to be with her because he was too scared to leave her because he was scared of her. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, why do you lie?
Yeah.
Because he's been telling her all these things that he doesn't like Tiffany. So it's been out there that he's not about Tiffany the way that he pretends to be on camera. The way that he pretends to be off camera too when he's just one-on-one with her. So I was just like, you did all of that. You cock-blocked Tiffany only to turn around and be like, yeah, you know, this single girl, she may be a little crazy, but she's my friend and we banged good. Bye, Tiffany. It was that easy. And so if I were Elise, I would be like, this guy is a great pretender because he's obviously telling Tiffany something different. Tiffany is thinking that this guy is all about her, and it gets worse in a second. But if I were Elise, I'd be like, how could I ever trust him? But she's here because she also is in competition with all women, right? She needs to win. And so far she's been rejected by Colt. She's been rejected by Rob. So she's like, I need to win. And so she's like, okay, well, go ahead and tell Tiffany that you're with me and then come back and bang me. And he has the biggest smirk and he gets up, they smooch, and he marches his way to Tiffany. Tiffany has pissed me off all season, but I felt so bad for her. She started this experience being on top. All the guys wanted Tiffany, right? But this shows you that all of that was just surface level. She's in her room. Courtney and Joe are there. You know, she's like the hub of gossip. So people are coming in. She's trying to get the tea on like where, you know, Courtney stands with Usman and Colt, blah, 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 blah. But we learned from Tiffany that earlier that day, she texted Carlo because she's like, okay, like I want to see you tonight. And her intention is to tell him, I want to be with you exclusively. And she tells the camera, I just know that he's going to have a big old smile because he's been waiting for this. Does that sound to you like someone that has been told that they're not wanted? He's clearly been telling her, I'm all about you. So she's like, I'm going to give him what he wants. I'm going to tell him what he wants to hear. So he knocks on the door. He comes in. He sees that she's holding court. And he's like, And I was confused. Like, you texted him that you wanted to see him, but then you had all these people here. Were you trying to have the exclusive convo in front of them? Like, I was confused by that. But his body language, she keeps telling him, come. And he keeps, like, taking a step and pausing. So she's sensing that something is up. So he comes out, and he's like, hey, like, I just need a private moment with Tiffany. So then they close, like, that glass, you know, door. And he sits, and she's like, what's going on? And then it's a cliffhanger. So we're going to see next episode him break the news to her, and then a moment where Elise comes out in like the sexiest dress and is like, we should have a talk. And she's like, yeah, Y'all need to let me know how this happened. And then a fight is going to erupt because, you know, people like to make everyone's problems their own. So it's going to be crazy. And then aside from that fight, it looks like next episode, Rob and Cole are going to fight again. I don't know how many episodes we have left of this season, but they are picking it up. And I love it. I'm here for it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, you guys. I can't wait to read them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.